Oh, we're live.
Yes, we are live.
Howdy, folks.
What's going on, people? Hey, just letting you know, I know people might start trickling in a little bit as we start getting into. Tonight we are reviewing Jim Henson, Disney's the
ITCs, if you want to get specific.
the Great Muppet Paper.
Paper.
Caper.
Great Muppet Paper.
Great Muppet.
Well, they
Paper.
do work for a paper.
That's true. The Great Muppet Caper.
That's a great idea. Here's some paper towels.
Jeez.
It's a stupid joke, but that's
Oh,
New Zealand.
yeah.
What do you expect?
Yeah, what do you expect from a Muppet?
A Muppet who flings boomerang fish.
That is so true.
Except they didn't do that in this movie.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll be reviewing that film tonight. So if you have watched it, great. Comment down below. And
Tell
where
us why we're wrong.
Yeah, tell us where either you enjoyed this film or you hated it. Either way.
And we have done normally we don't talk about the movie prior to reviewing, but the topic came up a little bit. So
right.
This is going to be a very interesting episode. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, if you are familiar with our material and you listen to our episode of Anastasia in season 1,
yes.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be quite the reverse.
No, but it's going to be close.
It might be close. It might be close.
We'll find out when we get to your dislikes.
Yes, exactly. It'd be like he'd be like, you never know. I might just trash this film beyond belief, or I might say, hey, it was okay.
Maybe you will, maybe you won't.
Exactly.
Maybe you won't make it out of here alive.
I would. Jeez, someone really loves their Muppets. don't
please. I'm on film. I can't do jack squat even if I wanted to. So anyway, guys. Yeah, we are reviewing The Great Muppet Caper.
Yes.
And then next week we're reviewing Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yes.
And we are just waiting a couple minutes to let some more people come in.
Yeah.
And I think you're still doing some research.
No, I'm already done researching.
You're done with research?
I'm done researching.
I don't want to make a bad assumption.
No.
We've got 2 people watching.
That's good.
So one of them might be you. I think one of them is you.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, we will be starting very shortly.
Yes.
So if you want to comment down on
wherever the chat window is
exactly
on your thing, we will see it.
Yeah, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch.
Which you should be on one of those if you're actually hearing us.
Yes.
So right now, all of you are on Facebook. All 3 of you. Oh,
Strange.
2 of you and Jacob.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh. I'm so grateful for my own bed at the end of the weekend. Let's say that.
Closest thing I can find approximate connections.
Approximate connections.
Well, okay, so I don't know if you've noticed.
Okay.
But the last couple weeks I've been placing different amiibos down depending on what we were doing.
Oh, okay.
So last week when we did Shrek, I had every green amiibo I had.
Yes.
This week I just put a green amiibo and a pink amiibo.
Because he eats everything?
Well, you could say that he's a pig.
He is a pig. He does eat everything.
And the green squidling, well, they hang out in water, and in the game they're amphibious, technically.
A very far stretch, but
hey, Francisco, how are you doing?
What's up, Francisco?
Just walked into the weirdest conversation.
That is so true. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch, kind of like Gonzo in Muppet Treasure Island,
which we're not reviewing.
No, we're not reviewing that film.
But you went ahead and watched it anyway. Hey, yeah. Cardinal, how you doing? Cardinal Paladin is mentioning that they're twin brothers. Well, no. This is a frog and this is a pig. Obviously.
Not a bear. Not a bear, obviously.
I don't think I have anything that could be as a bear. I've got a hedgehog. Oh, I got a gorilla. That's kind of close and apropos for next week.
That is true. He's based after that character.
Kind of. Yes. Pig. Frog. Bear. And hang on. And a whatever.
I remember not to laugh myself.
Please don't. Please I don't have any. I don't have an inhaler for you.
Yeah, I feel like a weasel now. Every time I start laughing, I'm afraid I'm going to pass out. If you did not,
listen to that episode.
Yeah, listen to that episode. That was
funny.
That was funny until I nearly go blue and I can't breathe.
So anyway, Retro and Cardinal, how are y'all doing today?
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting ready to go here.
Or any of you seen
Fabulous
Muppet Caper?
Baseball Diamond? No, I don't have a. Well, does this work? For the Fabulous Baseball Diamond?
I'm confused.
Well,
it looks like a ball. It's a brain in a case.
I don't really have anything diamond-like.
Oh, okay. Baseball diamond. Oh, yeah, baseball diamond, of course.
Yes, the Fabulous Baseball Diamond.
Yeah.
I'm going to count that.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
And we're going to get started here in just about. Are you ready to go? Or do you have a pun?
I'm still working.
That's the question. Do you have a pun to introduce me?
I'm still working on said pun.
Which is a reminder to myself, I need to come up with something.
I got it.
Okay, I think I got one for you.
All right.
All right. You ready?
Do it.
Okay. Starting in. And yes, I am recording. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, the last time he saw a price was like that was on an Oldsmobile. Welcome, Jacob.
Cars are so expensive nowadays.
And apparently, so is the sushi.
Apparently. Why, thank you. I'd like to introduce our co-host.
Actually, it was caviar, not sushi. My bad.
Either way. I'd like to introduce our co-host, a man who just happened to make a cameo in this movie, or in this podcast, rather. Welcome, Drew.
How can you cameo when you're the co-host?
I don't know.
Anyway, how are you doing, Jacob?
It's been a long week, and it's only Tuesday.
I will agree with you there, actually.
Yeah, because I'll be like, I was at work. Yesterday was a very long day.
Mm-hmm.
And today, you're running the middle day, but it was just more, man, it feels like it should be Thursday. And it's like, wait, I've got a podcast to record. But other than that, it's been pretty good. I went and visited my parents over the weekend, helped my brother Jim, the guy who runs Movie of the Week podcast. We're both co-hosts on, so go check them out. Go check us out on them, on there, whatever. So I helped him build a 2 lofts in his storage building. That was fun, very tiring, very grueling, very exhausting. And then, yeah, pretty good, very tiring. I'd be like Sunday, I got home, I went to church, and then I went home and relaxed and went to bed at like 9 o'clock because I was tired. So what have you been up to?
Much like you, I went home this weekend and visited my parents, but I did not get back until about right before 6.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a bit of a rush. I decided to eat. But I did go over to our friend Chase's, thinking we were having a Bible study. But since you decided not to come, it was just the two of us.
Oh, okay.
So we just talked. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, not much else happened. I mean, we had a good visit with my parents. It's been a long week because work is work, and I detest work. I work because I have to, because it makes money. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. What have you been watching?
Oh, what have I been watching? I finished the first season of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Okay.
On its DVD pack, not on Disney Plus. Because apparently on Disney Plus they have all that clumped into one season. All 3 seasons.
That's weird.
Yeah,
but then Disney Plus still have the 2 seasons of Gargoyles switched for some reason.
Yeah, it's true. They don't have season 3 yet.
So I don't understand that.
Huh.
But anyway.
Oh, let's see. What else did I watch? Oh yes, I watched obviously from this movie, and there again, our opinions on this film is going to be different. Yeah. Obviously, because it'll be like we're 2 different people, so we're gonna have different opinions on this film. But after that, I watched the film.
I was worried you were about to spoil the end of that. Anyway,
no.
Go ahead. I already marked it to cut me out.
No, but I watched. I watched Muppet Treasure Island, and I died laughing. Not in the sense I lost breath and passed out, but I enjoyed this movie tremendously. It's so much fun. It's a part of this 2-disc offer.
So I have a question regarding Muppet Treasure Island.
Mm-hmm.
As we come out of these trying times after an unprecedented cataclysm, let's say, that they claim happens. Anyway, did the song Cabin Fever echo with you like it does with me? Especially after the freeze.
Oh yeah, the freeze, definitely. I thought you're referring to COVID.
Oh, that too. I mean, some people had it worse than us.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree with you on that.
The freeze is the big one that really affected both of us.
Yeah, because obviously because we were both.
The freeze didn't stop essential work. Stop the essential workers from going to
work.
Exactly.
So everyone was locked in. Everyone chilled. So I completely understand the idea, the isolation of cabin fever. Minus I had a roommate at the time, so it made it a little more bearable.
Floating psycho, we were sailing, the wind was by our side, diddle-dee, diddle-dee, and then it died. I'm sorry.
I knew you were going to do that. In some capacity or form. But I watched that. I tremendously loved that movie to death, and I can't wait for us to review that film.
Possibly by next year. I've got some thoughts.
Yeah,
we've got one other movie between these since we already did Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah, but other than that, let me think. Oh yeah, I did watch when I was at my parents' place. They have the Discovery Plus app.
Uh-huh.
And so I knew about this little mini series that I had to watch. Exploration Back to the Future.
Of course.
If anybody knows me, I'm a huge Back to the Future fan. Great Scott.
I think you're in good company with our chat room.
I think so. Yeah, so it is.
I have nothing against it. I actually like the show too. I just don't have the absolute love for it you've got.
So you like the animated series over the TV?
Watched the animated series.
I haven't either. I've watched like 3 or 4 episodes. That was weird. I didn't even
know there was an animated series.
There was an animated series. The last 2 seasons.
I knew there was a Telltale game, but I didn't play it.
No, I played a little bit of that.
You played a video game?
Yes, I played video games a little bit. Just a little bit. But either way, That is such an amazing story. Well, it's not really a story. It's where are all 7 of the original time machines built for all 3 films, and there's very interesting stories of where they all wound up.
Okay.
Like there's one where it's Christopher Lloyd and our host they are like trying to find like 3 of the original cars, and like, oh yeah, this is gonna be it. It's actually the close-up shot, which all it is the cab of the vehicle. That's all it is, and it's hysterical. Because they pop in with all these cameos, and I am just laughing my head off. And I am geeking out. It's like, oh my gosh, it's Chuck Wilson. Because I'm such a nerd about this trilogy. It's not even funny. But I watched that, laughed my ever living head off, and I enjoyed it tremendously. So yeah, and plus the Discovery Plus app is only like, I think it's less than
cheap right now.
Yeah, it's like $5 a month.
Yeah.
And then I watched
and the only thing I'd probably watch on it would be Mythbusters.
That'd be fun.
That would be fun. It's been a while since I've seen the early episodes.
So
Retro in our chat asks if Elijah Wood made a cameo.
No, he didn't.
That's a shame.
That would have been hilarious.
Yes, because that would have been the one most people wouldn't even know why he was there.
Yeah, unless you were a big fan.
Yeah, or on Facebook too much like me.
Yeah. Other than that, I've got around to watching the first episode on Disney Plus, Assembled, which is the
making of WandaVision.
The making of WandaVision is very well done, very well executed. Just a joy to watch, like the actors like grow into their characters and understand why their methodologies and all this great stuff. And I can't wait. Be like what Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out what, Friday?
It started last Friday.
Yeah, so it's
it's good. I watched it.
Yeah, the first episode was really good. So the second episode should be out this Friday.
This Friday, yes.
Okay, good. So yeah, apparently that's only going to be 6 episodes.
If it's going to be 6 episodes, they've got a lot to cover.
Yeah. So yeah, that is all I have watched over the course of the week and weekend. What have you been watching?
Along with watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, since I had watched Assembled the week before. I also got through the first hour of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, the reason I only got through the first hour was
it that boring?
No, it wasn't it. I started it after I got home from Thursday night Bible study. You know what time that was?
Yeah.
About 8:30. And about 9:30, I realized I was tired physically and needed to go ahead and turn in.
Yeah.
What I saw, because I hadn't had a chance to watch any more of it yet because of, visiting the parents and all that. What I saw, I actually enjoyed. Okay. And I think it is better than the than Joss Whedon's version.
Okay.
But, and this is just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
I think, and this is more has to do with me than the movie. Okay. I think the movie is fine. But I have come to realize that long movies that have a deliberately slower pace may not be my forte.
Understood.
It's just it's just weird for me. But anyway,
so
that's not anything against the movie. It's more of against the fact that I am so used to, faster movies and faster paced movies. But anyway,
yeah, I kind of bouncing off your idea. There's the with the Snyder Cut finally released.
Yes.
So DC and Warner Brothers have made it clear they're not going to do Justice League 2.
Well, I would also like to point out that after Joss Whedon's cut of the Justice League, they firmly stated they were not going to release a director's cut. Of this movie, and they did. So
yeah, that is true.
You know what? As much whether they do something or not, that ball is in Zack Snyder's court.
True.
He may not want to come back, and if he didn't want to come back, that is fine.
Well, he's already stated
he doesn't want to come back, but things can change.
Well, he also did say later on that
He'd
Be
be
like-
willing to if they asked him.
Yeah, if he when
That's the thing. You got to get both Warner Brothers and him wanting to do it.
yeah.
We'll see if that happens. This is not a Zack Snyder podcast, nor is it Warner
No,
Brothers.
no, it's not. I
But-
thought it'd be interesting to bring
Yeah.
up for a moment.
Yes. Remind me to ask you something later. Anyway,
Roger.
because I think this might have something to do with Project AU.
Got it.
Anyway, other than that, while visiting my parents, we watched a couple of episodes of Cheers.
Oh, that's always fun.
Great show.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are in season 10, which is one season before the end of it. Interestingly enough, Retro, they do the whole theme song every episode on the streaming service. Just throwing that out there.
Wow. Now, where's that being streamed at?
Well, it's on Paramount Plus.
Oh, okay.
And they watched it on my Amazon account, which has a Paramount Plus
Link
channel, but
Yeah.
it's Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Also, we watched 40. I think it's either 48 Hours or Dateline. One of those two shows. You know, the real crime reporting shows that actually took place in Longview.
Really?
Which, for those of you who don't know, that is like right up the road.
Yeah.
It's like an hour from here.
Yeah.
It's weird because you're watching. Go, oh, I holy crap! I know where that is.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that street.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, that was interesting. And then we watched a couple episodes of when we were just waiting for stuff to happen.
Yeah.
House Hunters International.
Yeah.
There was one episode that took place in Thailand.
Okay.
I love that realtor because she was just telling him how it was.
Okay.
He said, "Well, I want this this new apartment I'm moving into to have a modern style, but also be very traditional." And she says, "Well, you better pick one because you can't have both."
Yeah.
She was hilarious.
Yeah. Straight to the point.
Some of that might be the fact that you could tell English was her second language,
Right.
or maybe her third or fourth, but it was not the one she grew up on. So she was hilarious to listen to. She just told this guy how it was, because this was one of those guys who's obviously moving because, well, midlife crisis and recently divorced, moving from England to Thailand.
Getting away
Big
from
difference.
Yeah, big difference.
Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much all I got a chance to watch outside of some YouTube stuff here. There was one interesting YouTube video I watched.
Okay.
On the channel is Practical Engineering, and apparently this video came out today, and I watched it at break. It was about the 2021 Texas energy emergency during the freeze.
Oh, okay.
They talked about what actually went wrong. Apparently, we are more blessed than we realize.
Okay.
Because if the power grid had remained at below 59.4, the frequency 59.4, if it remained below that for 4 more minutes than it actually did that Sunday night,
Okay.
we wouldn't have power right now. Because
Oh,
it would have caused the entire grid to crash, and it would have taken months to bring it back up.
wow.
So yes, we are very blessed.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I
Okay.
thank the Lord above,
Exactly.
especially that week that the frequency didn't stay down that long.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's
So go watch that. That's actually very interesting.
okay.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I've gotten a chance to watch. So what do we got in the news?
All right. So news-wise, let me get to the news. All right. So okay. So Disney's at it again. Surprise, surprise. The no one.
Well, at least there's some better news this time.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So regarding the launch or the release of Luca. All right. Similar to the launch of Disney Pixar's award-winning nominated Soul that delighted. I know you didn't like the film so much.
I'm just not as big a fan as other people.
I understand. Delighted Disney Plus subscribers during the holidays. Luca will stream directly in homes worldwide, exclusively on Disney Plus, beginning Friday, June 13th. 13, that's an 8. June 18th.
Now, is that like Soul, where it went up there free for everybody, or is that like Raya, where it was on Premier Access?
It doesn't say. I couldn't find that information.
Which is weird because Black Widow, that they also announced was delayed
Mhm.
till after that date, was Premier Access.
Weird.
Anyway.
So apparently it'll be a special offer for a kickoff, so it won't be under Premier Access.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be like a good kickoff. The film will be released theatrically with premiere date to be pronounced. So they've announced when it's going to be released to Disney Plus, but they haven't released a date on which it will be released theatrically.
So that could be either before or after.
It could. You never know.
Which is weird.
All right.
And honestly, where we are, I mean, I'm happy that the theaters are open.
Yeah.
And so I really do like it when they, at least play ball with us.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. So maybe some people possibly might be hopping mad about this. I don't know anybody that probably hopping mad about this one, but maybe. So apparently Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, which we have not reviewed yet.
Of course not. It's not out. Neither have we reviewed Peter Rabbit.
That's
1.
That's what I'm referring to. We haven't reviewed Peter Rabbit. Is hopefully working out its final pandemic release jitters after Sony Pictures have pushed and pulled the family hybrid flick from pulled around its theatrical calendar again, just 2 weeks before bouncing in theaters on May 2. Let's see. The comedy was originally supposed to be put out on May 14th to June 11th, but that was apparently pumped the brakes on because they decided they were going to put in on of all days, Independence Day weekend of June 2nd.
That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Now, admittedly, it was originally scheduled to come out close to Easter when it was supposed to come out last year.
Yes. And
they initially had it around Easter this year.
Mm-hmm.
Then they pushed it back to May for no good reason
that
I know of.
Right.
And it was COVID related, obviously.
Yes.
But I mean, I can't think of, I don't remember them actually saying that. The numbers are going down. That's all I know.
Yeah.
May not be down enough to make a lot of people happy, but that's fair.
Right.
It's I don't know. I'm still going to watch it because I actually did like the first one. It wasn't it wasn't like a great movie, but it was still fun.
Yeah.
Fun enough. I'm still planning on seeing the sequel.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's weird that they're now making what I'm going to think of as a spring movie in the summer.
Yeah, a little bit weird.
But anyway,
and oddly enough, the movie it's being released in the same weekend is Top Gun Maverick from Paramount.
Yeah, I have a feeling Peter Rabbit might have to worry about feeling the need for speed.
Or in this case, getting his cottontail burned off by the afterburners.
Yes.
Because everybody in there
right into the danger zone. Okay, anyway.
But yeah, just be like it's just so odd that they are releasing. You know what I got to deal with all the time? Singing all the time. He's almost worse than my brother when it comes to singing, all the time.
I'm thinking Peter is right into the danger zone.
Peter right into the danger zone, exactly. And it's like, what are you thinking? We're releasing this movie the exact same weekend as Top Gun is being released. Come on.
It's almost as bad as when Force Awakens came out.
Yes.
The same weekend as Alvin and the Chipmunks 3 Chipwrecked.
Wow. Just wow. So
yeah.
So speaking of chipmunks.
I'm curious of this segue.
No, this isn't really a segue. This is more what do you the Chipmunk movie that came out in the 80s. Or in the 1990s, before the CG craze, before the hybrid craze.
The 2D one that is connected to the TV show.
Yes.
What about it?
I don't know. It'd be a good idea to review at some point.
Well, put it on the list and find me a copy.
All right, fine then.
I don't mind reviewing it.
All right, good deal. All right, so I thought
there's very little at this point I'm going to say no to, and already know the ones I'm thinking of.
Yes. All right. So in our last bit of news, apparently Raya and the Last Dragon apparently is celebrating the reopening of the Los Angeles cinema with the studio's traditional El Capitan opening event.
Ah,
Yeah, so apparently they're opening theaters back in Los Angeles.
congratulations.
Yeah. Yay. Go watch movies.
You're where we were back in May.
Yeah, exactly.
Not May, August. It was August. It opened back. Well, technically, one of them around here never shut down. But
yeah, that is true.
Most, with the exception of the other one in town, did open back up in August. So
yeah. So be like that was interesting. It was like, okay, so Los Angeles is finally getting to go back to theaters. That's really awesome for them. So speaking of Raya, it's posted its third weekend box office, $55.5 million from 2,261 theaters, just down 9 from the last. Okay, yeah, the film is number 1 in the U.S. domestic, standing at $28.4 million. It's picked also to rank 13.2 million from the 29 international territories, bringing in a gross of $71.2 million.
mm-hmm.
Now, granted, that's COVID conditions. Yeah. Like before that, you'd be looking at multi-millions of dollars, possibly billions.
Mm-hmm.
But in our COVID climate right now, that's really good.
Yeah,
that is really good. I think it's like that was Wonder Woman. Like Wonder Woman kind of underperformed a little bit, but let's be frank, every movie's underperformed.
Oh yeah.
Like if a movie studio thinks they're going to make mega bucks on their releases at this time period between 2000 and 2001, be like, you're sadly mistaken. But it's great. The movie's doing very well in the theaters.
All right.
So that is all I have for the news.
All right. Well, then we need to go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free section of our review for The Great Muppet Caper.
Yes.
This is one of those movies that my grandfather recorded onto VHS off Disney Channel when I was very young.
Bootleg.
And bootlegged it down to where I had it since I didn't have Disney Channel as a kid. And it's another one of those VHSs I wore out as a child. And then I didn't get to see it again for like 10 or 15 years.
Wow.
And then I remember catching it on Netflix, of all places, for when it was there for a short time.
Right.
And then I caught it like again on like Amazon, but not Amazon Prime. I rented it on Amazon and watched it. And then a couple years ago, I bought the Blu-ray here.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, watched both movies that on there, both Great Muppet Caper and Muppet Treasure Island. And I am thoroughly convinced that this is my second favorite Muppet movie.
Okay.
With the first, of course, being Muppet Christmas Carol, which we've talked about.
Yes. Very good movie.
Yes. This one, to me, the comedy is a lot snappier. It's a lot more well done.
Okay.
The story is much better than I think either Muppet movie or Muppets Take Manhattan is.
Okay.
Which we haven't gotten to Muppets Take Manhattan. We'll get to that one eventually. And this one I think resonated with me more than I think, with the exception of Muppet Christmas Carol, more than any of the other Muppet movies have. The Muppets, maybe we'll talk to that on that one when we get to it, but because that's the newest, not the newest one, but like the second to last one,
right?
I mean, This is still one of my favorites. I suggest anyone, if you've ever, I would suggest this one almost as people's first Muppet movie. But maybe I'm not sure. It's just still one of my favorites. Yeah, Great Muppet Caper is going to be a hard one for me to come up with dislikes for being honest. You, on the other hand, what are your spoiler-free thoughts?
Okay, so this was the first time I ever saw this film. Now,
well, in your defense, you hadn't watched any Muppet movies, so I started forcing you.
Yeah, that is true. They're
again Muppet Babies.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me started on Muppet Babies.
Shush! You're gonna hate the next movie because it introduced the Muppet Babies.
Seriously,
Muppets Take Manhattan. Is the one that Muppet Babies is inspired from.
Okay,
there's a sequence.
Okay,
that you'll hate.
Okay. Well, now
just giving you fair warning.
Now
a year in advance, probably.
Got it. The downside when I was watching Muppet Babies, I didn't like little kids. So says
the guy who used to work with kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of a weird change how God changes your heart a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, be like I might go back and attempt to watch Muppet Babies again just for giggles and see if I don't like it or if I like it or hate it. Or I get the same result I did when I was a kid. But either way, I watched the movie. I have little foibles with this film. Now, granted, I was probably just being very critical of the film with being a reviewer.
You're just giving me excuses to defend the film. That's all you're doing.
Exactly. Because
I will have defense.
Mm-hmm.
I may be making it up right off the top of my head, but I'll have defense.
But there are parts of the film I enjoy. There are parts of it where it drags. But other than that, there are parts of the movie I enjoy. There are parts of the movie I really don't enjoy. But yeah, that's my spoiler free talk on.
Alrighty. So that brings us to the end of our spoiler free section.
Mm-hmm.
Join us on the other side of the bumpers, and we'll get to spoiling this thing.
Exactly.
I don't have a good transition. I was hoping you did, but apparently not.
No. Oh,
okay. Gonzo. We are stopped.
All right, good deal.
I am saving part one. Oh, me.
So apparently Heather Morgan chimed in and be like, I love the Chipmunks Adventure. And now, granted, I have not seen that film in years since I was a kid, like a very small child. And I watched some clips on YouTube, and oh my gosh, like the voices are all sound like it's done by one person. Like the Chipettes and the Chipmunks sound alike.
Well, in their defense, the way that is handled is, well, the Chipmunks are all one person.
That is true.
I don't know about the Chipettes, but I know the Chipmunks were all
voiced by one person.
Voiced by voiced by Dave, the same guy who voices Dave.
Yeah.
But they are just sped up and they talk real slow. So if you actually go back and watch if you go back and listen to the first one's the one I've heard, the Christmas song, where Alvin wants a hula hoop.
Yeah.
If you listen to it at the speed where they sound normal, they sound like three very depressed men.
No.
Christmas time is here. And then you get to the part where Dave is speaking and it sounds like a demon from the third ring of hell. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. But far as I remember with the Alvin and Chipmunks, the cartoon that came out in the 80s, like the original series, Alvin and Chipmunks, was all about Alvin. And
the other two chipmunks.
Not really.
Simon and Theodore.
Be like, yeah, they were just backup characters. They really never really focused on them originally, but in the 80s cartoon they did. So they literally had um you see what I got to work with. He's got a song in his heart every 2 minutes.
P-M-U-N-K. This song's in my head.
Yep.
And it's your fault.
You're welcome.
Do, 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 do.
But yeah, the original series that they focused more on, they gave spotlights to Simon and Theodore, and people resonated with that. They're like, yeah, like it's all about Alvin, but Alvin's a jerk. He's a little punk that just wants to get his way all the time. Where and so that's where I kind of resonate with the show. It's like, oh my gosh, be like Simon was cool and Theodore was the little chubby guy that
so were you the Alvin or were you the Theodore?
I was more the Simon. I was more
really?
I was Simon of the bunch.
Okay.
And I wore glasses.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it went.
All right.
The Jim was the was Alvin, of course, because it's Jim.
Okay, yeah, I can see this.
And Daniel, our baby brother, was Theodore.
All right. So as we were running, Retro thought he'd try to trigger an Edna mode, which doesn't work over here because this isn't the Retro Rewind podcast.
Okay.
And then he threw up a tongue sticking out sign. I pointed out that Edna doesn't work here.
So what is Edna mode?
Edna mode, that's when when they have when I have to go in and mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what they're doing because they usually takes them a couple months and then they can get back in.
Mm.
So Edna mode's usually what comes up when they're doing their outtakes.
Okay.
Leads into their outtakes basically. And he says, "Well, not with that attitude." Cardinal said, "Oh, Rescue Rangers," in reference to you watching Rescue Rangers.
Rescue Rangers, amazing.
And then Retro said, "That's heavy," in reference to Back to the Future.
Yes, very.
And then he asked if Elijah Wood made a cameo.
Nope.
Cardinal Paladin then says, "Oh, Back to the Future, the animated series. My favorite episode is the one where criminals steal the DeLorean and wind up in an Australian penal colony."
I haven't watched that episode.
That sounds interesting.
Well, technically, I need to get a hold of the original series because I've watched like very few of the episodes. So there are, let's say that.
Okay. Retro then says, "Speed Racer is apparently the only movie fast enough." Oh, he's referencing the fact that I thought Justice League was slow.
Well, it's 4 hours. What do you expect?
And then Retro says, "No, they play the extended version," in reference to me messing with him about the Cheers thing.
Oh.
It's a running gag over there. Don't worry.
I gotcha.
He then says, "Very looking forward to Maverick."
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "Goodness gracious, great balls of fire." And then Heather Morgan did say she loved the Chipmunk Adventure.
Yes. And
then to something I said, Retro Rewind said, "Boo."
Okay.
I didn't even get to Monty Python yet, Retro. Give me time.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yes, here in about 15 minutes. And then Retro says, "I thought Muppet Babies came first." No, I don't exactly sure on the years, but I do know that the sequence in Muppets Take Manhattan is the one that inspired the Muppet Babies. The only Muppets that's not in both is Skeeter, who was created specifically for Muppet Babies.
Mm.
But it's also been a long time since I've seen that movie, so I just know it's going to annoy him because he doesn't like the Muppet Babies. Fair enough. Retro says, "As an example, as a transition I could have used. Let's continue with this caper."
All right.
And that's the last thing I got on here. So are you ready to jump into part 2? I've got it going already.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
All right. Let me bring up my notes before I bring us back in. All right. Coming back in. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie The Great Muppet Caper. Listener discretion is advised. The Great Muppet Caper was directed by none other than Jim Henson, who, of course, created the Muppets.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also the director of The Dark Crystal, which was made around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, they were in pre-production during the making of The Great Muppet Caper for Dark Crystal.
Sounds like many of Steven Spielberg's films.
Oh, yes. It was written by Tom Pratchett, who also wrote some episodes of Alf. Jay Tarsis, who wrote the movie Short Circuit. Jerry Jewell, who wrote some episodes of The Muppet Show. Actually was the main writer, I think, after season 1. And Jack Rose wrote the movie The Paleface.
Oh, okay.
The one that, the sequel, Son of Paleface, I know has Bob Hope in it. Singing about buttons and bows. Anyway, getting into the cast. Jim Henson plays Kermit the Frog, Rolf the Dog, Dr. Teeth, the Swedish Chef, Waldorf, the Muppet Newsman, Zeke, Man Having Snapshot in Restaurant, and he was the original puppeteer on Ernie in Sesame Street. I do want to go ahead and point out, because I should have said this before, with the cast list, anytime we deal with any of the Muppeteers, for lack of a better term, IMDb does not do a good job of separating who's doing the voices and who's doing the performing in cases where it takes multiple performers to handle Muppets. So bear that in mind. Frank Oz was the voice of played Miss Piggy, Fozzie Bear, Animal, Sam the Eagle, Gramps, and another part of the Swedish Chef. And of course, he was Yoda in Star Wars. Dave Goelz played the Great Gonzo, Beauregard, Zoot, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew, and Lubbock Lou. And in the movie Inside Out, he played Subconscious Guard Frank. At least he's doing something besides the Muppets, because that's one of the things you run into here.
Yeah.
A lot of them you can only find with Muppet stuff. I try to find other things, because sometimes you get some crazy stuff in here.
So basically get their hands tied behind their back?
You could say that. Jerry Nelson played Floyd Pepper, Pops, Lou Zealand, Crazy Harry, Louis Kaziger, Slim Wilson, CB Voice, and Man in Park. And until 2013, he was the voice of the Count on Sesame Street. Richard Hunt played Scooter, Statler, Sweetums, Janice, Beaker, Bubba, Monster, and Cab Driver. And apparently he played a character called Forgetful Jones on Sesame Street. Charles Grodin played Nicky Holiday. And in the 1976 version of King Kong, he played Fred Wilson. I believe that's one of the main characters in that, but don't quote me.
Gotcha.
Diana Rigg played Lady Holiday. And she played Tracy Bond, which is James Bond's first wife in On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Wait, Bond was married at one point?
Well, technically, he's been married twice now.
Okay.
Once to Tracy, back in On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
She does not survive.
Of course.
Putting that out there. And much like that version, the girl in Casino Royale.
Oh, that's
Lind. Technically, they get married in that one, and she also doesn't survive.
Yeah, that's true.
Spoiler alerts for movies not connected with this movie.
Poor Bond girls.
That's kind of their fate.
That is true.
John Cleese. Retro, you might want to cut out for this one. John Cleese has a cameo as Neville. He played the Second Swallow Savvy Guard and the Black Knight and Peasant 3 and Sir Lancelot the Brave and the Taunting French Guard and Tim the Enchanter in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I gave you fair warning, Retro.
It's only a flesh wound.
Robert Morley had a cameo in this one as the British gentleman. He's the one that greets Kermit, Fozzie, and Gonzo when they first arrive.
Okay.
And he played King Louis the 16th in the 1938 movie Marie Antoinette.
Did you say 1938?
1938.
Wow. Okay.
Peter Ustinov also has a cameo in this movie as a truck driver. And he played Hercule Poirot. Why can I not say this Belgian man's name? He played Hercule Poirot in the 1978 version of Death on the Nile. Jack Warden also had a cameo in this as Mike Tarkanian, who was the editor of the Daily Chronicle. And in 12 Angry Men, he played Juror 7. Because all the jurors in that, which make up all the cast, were only known by their numbers.
Gotcha.
Steve Whitmire played Rizzo the Rat and Lips. And in the show Fraggle Rock, he played Sprocket the Dog.
Okay.
This is also, I believe, the first time he's shown up in the Muppets. Because he would be the one who, from Muppet Christmas Carol until Muppets Most Wanted, was the voice of Kermit. Just throwing that out there. Louis Gold played a Muppet. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Louis Gold was one of the Muppet performers. He played Annie Sue Pig, and in The Dark Crystal, he played the Gourmand, and he also played that character in The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. Catherine Mullen was a Muppet performer for The Chickens, and Gaffer the Cat. I had to look up who Gaffer the Cat was because I couldn't, off the top of my head, think of who this character was. He's the cat during the Happiness Hotel sequence in front of the radiator.
Interesting.
Yeah. Nothing. Okay.
Okay, remind me again where this cat was. I was distracted for a second.
I noticed. During the Happiness Hotel in front of the radiator. During that song, he was in front of the radiator for like a short second.
Okay.
This is about making sure you're paying attention and listening.
Yes. Yes, I'm trying to...
Before you get distracted by your iPad again. I will cut this out. Okay. Carol Spinney plays the cameo of Oscar the Grouch.
Yeah.
And of course, he's Big Bird on Sesame Street. Erica Creer played Marla, one of the three.
Oh, cat burglars.
Yeah, one of the three burglars. She played a character named Tara in something called Circle of Iron, which I believe is a David Carradine kung fu movie.
Okay.
Kate Howard played Carla, and she played Angelique in The Bourne Identity, but not the Bourne Identity you're thinking of.
Oh,
the one from 1988.
Oh, okay. I have no idea what movie this is.
It's The Bourne Identity. It's the same story because technically the one everyone knows is technically a remake of this movie.
That makes sense.
Della Finch played Darla, and she did not have many acting credits besides this. The biggest thing I saw was that she played a character named Amaryllis Bogle in something called Jemima Shore Investigates. I have no idea.
Okay.
Michael Robbins had a cameo as the security guard in this, and he played Ainsley Jarvis in The Pink Panther Strikes Again. Joan Sanderson had a cameo as Dorcas, the wife of John Cleese.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Character. And she played Miss Alice Richards in Fawlty Towers. And what's interesting about that is John Cleese is the main star of Fawlty Towers. He was like the landlord in charge of the tower.
Yeah.
In charge of the apartment towers are in. And from what I understand, this Miss Alice Richards is a rather ditzy tenant. And in this movie, they're married.
Okay,
that's an interesting thing there.
That is interesting.
Peter Hughes had a cameo as the maitre d', And I'm going to say the Avengers, but you need to understand I am not talking about the one with Captain America and all them. I'm talking about the original The Avengers.
TV series or the movie?
I think it's the movie.
Okay.
He plays Edwards and Walters.
Okay.
I don't know who these characters are because I've never actually watched The Avengers. I just know there's a character in there named Emma Peel. All I know.
I remember watching the movie,
and apparently there's a
years ago.
Apparently there's a scene with a baby carriage going down a bunch of stairs.
Okay, then.
That's all I know about this thing.
Okay.
Other than it's apparently good and I should have watched it a long time ago.
Mm.
The last one I've got on here is Peter Falk, who had a cameo in this as the tramp who talks to Kermit about the glass slipper he got from Miss Piggy. He is, of course, Columbo in Columbo. But I know him better as the grandfather in The Princess Bride. And for this week's Kingdom Hearts connections,
there's actually a connection.
There are no connections.
What?
I tried. I could come up with nothing.
Wow.
I couldn't even use Frank Welker because he's not in this. Surprisingly enough. So yeah,
I would not be surprised. Bill, I'm very shocked you didn't do a 10 steps to Kingdom Hearts.
I could have.
You could have. That would have been fascinating. Very, very well executed if you did that.
Got Frank Oz, who of all the Muppet actors, he's probably the one who has the most connections. But honestly, I'm sure I'd have to go from Frank Oz, or probably the actors in Muppet Babies, for all I know, have Kingdom Hearts connections. Because none of them are the Muppet performers. Anyway, what do we got in info and stuff for this movie?
So, info and stuff. Let me find the news. All right, so info and stuff. It is available to watch on Disney Plus for those who have a subscription to Disney Plus. And I'm pretty sure most people and their puppet dog have Disney Plus by this point.
At this point, I would assume so.
All right, so on... Oh, okay. So on IMDb, it has a 7.1 out of 10. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 76% and a 79% audience score.
Okay.
All right. So it was production. It was ITC Films and Henson Associates. It was distributed by Universal Pictures. And
still owns the theatrical rights to this movie.
Exactly. And Associated Film Distribution. Its release date was June 26, 1981 in the United States. And then on July 30th, 1981 in the United Kingdom. Box office wise, it's now granted, I couldn't be like, I simply was trying to get information as fast as I could. I didn't look up all what it made throughout the world. But in general, so it's US weekend release. It earned $2.9 million.
Okay.
All right. So
it's not bad for 1981.
No, it's not. So
this was also right after the end of season 5 of The Muppet Show, which it went out on top. So, I mean, this was like the height of Muppet fandom.
Sure. All right. Its US gross was $31.2 million. Its worldwide gross was the same as $31.2 million. The movie did fairly well. I could not find a budget anywhere. I might have skipped that at some point.
I've never seen a budget. Well, actually got a budget. Hang on. I have a budget. Let me get down here to the trivia because that's where I've got it. Oh, it just says it's the third highest Muppet gross. Third highest grossing Muppet movie.
Yeah.
Sorry. Never mind. I don't have a budget. And you're double checking your notes?
Yeah, just double checking everything.
Okay.
See if I missed anything. And you never know.
Knowing is half the battle.
Exactly.
G.I. Joe.
Did you ever watch G.I. Joe as a kid?
No, I didn't
Okay.
even watch the original Transformers as a kid.
Oh, okay.
I came in at Beast Wars.
Good series.
Yes.
So, there we go. It had a budget of $14 million.
All right.
So it barely scraped by.
All right.
Like you have a budget of had a budget of 41 and you made like $21 million in the box office.
Yeah.
So barely. I mean, like you didn't. Yeah. Either way.
Yeah.
All right.
That it?
That's it.
Okay.
That's
what
it.
I was waiting to find
That's
out.
it. Be like, I found myself in a conundrum. Be like, what do I say after this?
Okay. So jumping into the summary for this. Kermit the Frog, Fozzie Bear, and Gonzo the Great are investigative reporters for the Daily Chronicle newspaper. Kermit and Fozzie specifically play identical twin reporters, which becomes the source of a running gag. Nobody can tell that they are twins unless Fozzie is wearing his hat. One day, after the trio is dismissed for failing to report on a major jewel robbery, Kermit asks the editor, Mr. Tarkanian, to allow them to travel to London to investigate the robbery and interview the victim, prominent fashion designer Lady Holiday. Statler and Waldorf make appearances throughout the film to heckle them and the audience. Like maybe 3 appearances.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder about this summary already. With only $12 for the trip, which who said that? They are forced to travel in an airplane baggage hold and are literally thrown out of the plane as it passes over Britain. They stay at the dilapidated but free Happiness Hotel, which is populated by other Muppet characters such as Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, Scooter, the Swedish Chef, Dr. Bunsen Honeydew Beaker, Lou Zealand, Rolf the Dog, Sam the Eagle, Pops, Beauregard, Crazy Harry, Camilla the Chicken, and Rizzo the Rat. The next morning, when Kermit seeks out Lady Holiday in her office, he finds her newly hired receptionist, the alluring Miss Piggy, and mistakes her for the fashion designer. Piggy instantly falls in love with the little green reporter. She poses as Lady Holiday, and Kermit asks her out for dinner. To keep up the pose, she allows Kermit to assume she lives at a highbrow address. She sneaks into a townhouse at 17 Highbrow Street to wait for him, much to the surprise of the actual upper-class British residents. And they go to a dinner at a nightclub, the Dubonnet Club, which apparently is more of a supper club. But anyway, at the nightclub, the real Lady Holiday's necklace is stolen by her jealous brother, Nicky, and his accomplices, Carla, Marla, and Darla, 3 of her exploitive fashion models, the very same thieves who robbed her before. After the robbery, Miss Piggy's charade is revealed and she flees, leaving Kermit behind, though the next day they reconcile after having a brief argument. Despite Nicky's instant attraction to Miss Piggy, he and his accomplices frame her for the necklace theft during Lady Holiday's fashion show. They plan to steal an even more valuable prize, Lady Holiday's largest and most fabulous jewel, the fabulous baseball diamond, now on display at the local Mallory Gallery. Unbeknownst to them, Gonzo overhears their plot. He, Kermit, and Fozzie and the other residents of the Happiness Hotel decide to intercept the thieves and catch them red-handed to exonerate Miss Piggy. Kermit arrives at the prison to explain the plan to Miss Piggy while disguised as her lawyer. The Muppets sneak into the Mallory Gallery and get to the baseball diamond at the same time as the thieves. They try to keep the diamond out of the thieves' hands via a game of keep away, but Nicky eventually catches the diamond and takes Kermit hostage. In the meantime, Piggy escapes from prison and she races to the gallery, crashing through the window on a motorcycle that serendipitously falls off a truck in front of her. She knocks Nicky out and dispatches Carla, Marla, and Darla with a flurry of furious karate chops. As the police arrive, all charges against Piggy are dropped. Nicky and his accomplices are arrested, and the Muppets get their deserved credit for foiling the heist. The Muppets then return to the United States the same way they departed, being thrown out of the cargo hold and parachuting back to the United States. Getting into the trivia for this episode, the Great Gonzo's classification as a whatever is officially cemented in this movie, as this is the label affixed to a shipping crate en route to Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
We'll point out that once we get to Muppets from Space, he is considered an alien, but I still don't count that. The bike riding sequence was accomplished by using a combination of radio-controlled bikes, marionette rigging, and in some cases attaching several bikes together with rods so they could stand upright on their own. The end of the bicycle scene, where all the Muppets are shown riding together, was done by putting all of the Muppet characters onto their bikes, hooking them together, and pulling them.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Henson on an oversized tricycle was amongst those who pulled the bikes. The girl in the park who thinks Kermit is a bear is Christine Nelson, daughter of Muppeteer Jerry Nelson, who was the man with her in the scene. Christine suffered from cystic fibrosis throughout her short life and finally succumbed to the disease in 1982, 1 year after this movie debuted. Director Jim Henson did not like the working title for this movie, which was Muppet Mania, and had various friends, staff members, and relatives suggest titles for the movie. Some of the more interesting titles include The Rocky Muppet Picture Show and A Froggy Day in London. The winning title was suggested by 19-year-old Lisa Henson, who came up with The Great Muppet Capade, but also included several alternate choices of words, including escapade, pig-aid, and caper in her submission. For wide shots of Kermit the Frog, Fozzie Bear, and the Great Gonzo in the hot air balloon, remote-controlled Muppets and a radio-controlled hot air balloon were used. Jim Henson, Frank Oz, and Dave Goelz performed their characters from inside a helicopter, hovering alongside the balloon with a cameraman dangled from the bottom of the second helicopter. During one particularly bad landing, the remote balloon tipped over, spilling out the Muppets and badly scorching Fozzie Bear in the balloon's propane burners. Muppet builder Amy Van Gilder came to the rescue and made the necessary repairs, earning her a special on-screen credit of Muppet Doctor.
Wow. Okay.
A full-body Miss Piggy was used in this movie 3 times. Once when Miss Piggy was leaving the supper club, during the motorcycle chase scene, and another time when she was diving in a pool during her fantasy. The scene with Kermit the Frog's dancing shadow took 43 takes to get right.
Oh, yeah, I definitely need to see that. Yeah.
And during the opening credits, Fozzie Bear asks Kermit what BSC stands for, but Kermit doesn't know. Do you know what it means?
BSC. No, I don't.
Well, it came up on the credit that was on screen at the same time for the cinematographer.
Okay.
Which stood for British Society of Cinematographers.
That actually makes sense.
Yes. Last but not least, I have one other little bit of trivia that I took too much time on, if we're being completely honest. During Piggy's Fantasy, which is the name of the song that's played during that part, this is where she's doing the water ballet scene in her imagination, in her dreamland. The character of Nikki Holiday, played by, who did I say? I should have had this up because I'm never going to remember his name. Charles Grodin sings, but it's very obviously dubbed over. Someone else is singing for him.
Okay.
This is pointed out by Miss Piggy right afterwards, after she was framed for the theft. As she's being dragged out of the scene, you can hear her shout something along the lines of, "You can't even sing. You were very obviously dubbed." I got to thinking about that. I got to thinking, who sang for Charles? And what I found out was that in the 40 years since this movie came out, nobody knows who dubbed his voice in that song. I do mean nobody. I checked. It's not credited in the film. It's not on IMDb. I checked a fan site called Tough Pigs, which is a Muppet fan site, who wrote an article about this back in 2016. They couldn't figure it out. They speculated a number of people. The ones that make the most sense might be some of the Muppet performers who are already in the film, and so were already had credits in the film. And the closest thing I got to anything close to a confirmation was on the Villains Wiki, which mentioned that Charles Grodin dubbed the song himself. But I could not find a citation for that. So they have no proof that that's what happens. It's just a guesswork for them. Nobody knows in the 40 years since this movie came out who dubbed Nikki in Piggy's Fantasy.
Really?
Really. I spent entirely too much time for that to come up empty-handed. I'm just going to say that.
Right.
One last bit of trivia. Charles Grodin was approached for the Muppets to make a cameo appearance as he was as the character was getting out of jail, but he declined to take the role to appear.
Okay.
He would have returned as Nikki Holiday had because they had actually written him in written him in a cameo part, and he decided not to do it.
Okay.
Which brings me to the end of my trivia. So, Jacob, what is your first like?
What is my first like? Would actually be the climax of our film is the baseball diamond is about to be stolen by our cat burglars, and the Muppets just ruin their day. And
it is a great scene.
It is a great scene.
That whole sequence is great.
It is so fun.
Well, I'll get to Piggy here in a minute.
Yeah. So it'd be like you have Piggy breaking out of jail. The whole fact would be like she's strong enough to bend iron bars. And then,
which should not be a surprise.
No, it's not. It's Piggy. So she breaks out of prison. She hijacks a car. She hijacks a truck, and then hijacks a
finds a motorcycle.
Finds a motorcycle for some reason.
What an unbelievable coincidence!
And it'd be like you had this entire keep away thing with the Muppets and the Jewel, and like it's hysterical watching. Like it's like probably my favorite part of the film is the climactic moment of where the cat burglars are caught and the Muppets save the day, and it's just very creative how they did that. And you realize how much space you're not going to have with that many puppets.
Oh yeah.
You can't move.
I would love to see a zoomed out version of that scene.
Yeah.
So we could see
all
the
you
humans
see is
underneath.
hands.
I just want to see all the humans underneath trying to stay upright.
Yeah.
Or not stay upright, but still trying to act and not run into each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So my first like is actually the what I call the rubbery folded. So yeah, that is my number one. What is your number one?
My number one is I'm going to make the claim that this is Miss Piggy's best movie.
Okay.
This is the one where I think they actually did the most work to flesh her out. Her comedy works. Her two songs are good. And most of the time I hate Miss Piggy's songs when they come up. Because they're usually, they're okay, but they're not great. This one, I like both that involve her.
Okay.
Her action is good. She's got some of the best lines, especially in that last part where I still love the part where she throws Peter Ustinov out of the truck.
Yeah.
Only for him to be thrown into Oscar the Grouch's garbage can, which for some reason is not at Sesame Street. It's in London for some reason.
Right.
But it's still hilarious.
Well, it was a cameo.
It was a great cameo. A very brief cameo. Me too. And then, of course, when the truck goes by and the motorcycle just flies out and stays upright, and Piggy just turns around and says, "Yes, we know what's going on. It's an unbelievable coincidence." Especially when all the mile markers are saying, "Mallory Gallery, still some ways off. Mallory Gallery, only a few. You're getting closer." It's like
you're getting warmer.
It's like, why would you, I mean? There's a part of me that goes, I know it's for comedic purposes, but
right.
You wouldn't. That's very much there for the film's sake. No, you wouldn't. That wouldn't be real. But I mean, it's the entire part of her breaking into the John Cleese's and a house on Highbrow Street is funny to me. Her trying to climb up the side of this house. She gets in. Kermit rings the doorbell. And of course, John Cleese and his wife are just still bickering and not paying attention. Finally, she just stands up and says, "I'll answer it." And she goes
and waddles off.
Goes and gets the door. And then decides, Kermit having never been in a rich person's house before, apparently, wants a tour. So she gives him a tour, including the closet. It's, admittedly, there's some parts of Piggy's in this I don't like, but I think Frank Oz did an amazing job with her character in this one. So yeah, Miss Piggy's performance in this is my number one like.
All right.
What's your number two?
My second like, you actually mentioned it in between, would be the point where the truck driver gets thrown from the truck by the pig.
Yeah.
And who behold is Oscar the Grouch.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, wait, he's not a. Oh, that's clever.
Yeah.
Because it's the same company. I was like, at this point it is. But oh my gosh, it's Oscar the Grouch.
Well, I mean, technically, it's Children's Television Workshop. Is that one, which was not technically connected. Was only connected to the Jim Henson Associates in actuality, not legally, because Henson intentionally kept Sesame Street separate from the Muppets.
Okay.
So that if anyone bought the Muppets, they wouldn't have control over Sesame Street, because he felt that passionately that Sesame Street should remain educational and not be exploited.
Okay.
Which makes a lot of sense now that the Sesame Street's on HBO. Anyways,
I enjoyed that little cameo. I thought it was really funny and really clever that they brought Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street, like you said before, be like the fact to be like, why is he in London? Oh yeah, it's a cameo.
It's just a cameo.
Just a cameo.
A very brief cameo.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that tiny little section right there. I was like, oh, I was pleasantly surprised by the appearance of a very grumpy green trash can monster.
I think his cameo was better than Big Bird's in Muppet Movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, true.
Now, a little bit of sad news for you. There's only one more Muppet movie that features any Sesame Street cameos.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There's only one more.
Okay.
They don't appear after that.
Okay.
It makes sense when we get to it.
I gotcha. Gotcha.
So,
what is your number two?
My number two, the songs.
Okay.
I can't think of one. There's only one song in this movie I don't like. And I'd like to point out in the original versions I saw this on VHS, it was an instrumental. So, of course, when they added words, I didn't like it. But between Hey a Movie, The Happiness Hotel, Piggy's Fantasy, what is the name of the song at the supper club? Anyway, that song, can't remember the name, are some of the most fun songs to sing along to. Or a lot of them are anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, the songs, they're catchy. Extremely catchy.
Okay.
What is your third like?
My third like, and it's more technical than anything, the bicycle scene.
Yes.
Like you described it, was like, I kept thinking, it's like, how in the world are they doing this? Because I kept thinking, it's like, okay, Miss Piggy obviously looks like somewhat like they put a short person.
Yeah, that's one
in a piggy suit.
That was one of the full body piggies.
Okay,
I do know that.
I thought that's what I thought, and I was like, okay, but then how are they doing Kermit? I was like, okay, it's got to be strings. There's got to be some kind of like running mechanism, but you can't see anything. And this is 81. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, there was no CG to edit out.
No CG. There's no wires.
If you're paying attention in other scenes, you can still see the marionette poles.
Yeah. But this thing was just like brilliant how they did this. Now, I got how they did the all of the other Muppets. You're like, okay, they're literally being towed.
Yes.
But like that scene was like the fact to be like they're going in circles around each other with perfect maneuverability with bicycles. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Now, I did have to go frame by frame during the shot where a bunch of Muppets are on the motorcycle and you can see the Swedish Chef in the back. I had to go frame by frame because the Swedish Chef is unique in his appearance in that his hands are human hands. They're not puppet hands. The only time you see him with felt hands is for the still pictures that they might take for like the cover of a movie poster or something like that. In those cases, he does have puppet hands, but during performance, he has person's hands because they have to actually be able to pick up the objects.
Right.
I went frame by frame to see if he had puppet hands in that scene or human hands because it's very obvious he's being held up. He's not. He has in that shot. He has virtually no life in his body in that scene.
Wow.
I couldn't tell because there's only like 3 frames where his hands were visible, and I couldn't tell.
Wow. It's just like the craftsmanship and the artistry they did in like a lot of these scenes were just impeccable. Just like going back to the bicycle scene, the fact that like you have Kermit the Frog, but you can't. I mean, like you would have to like find the skinniest person and put the biggest force perspective on it to make it work, but they didn't.
You can't do that with that one.
Yeah,
Kermit's arms are too thin.
Yeah, exactly.
To ever use a full body version.
Yeah.
I would assume maybe they used the remote control for the shots, especially the shots with him doing the tricks and like trying to stand up on the bike.
Oh yeah,
by himself. That had to be a remote controlled animatronic.
Yeah, because also you can see in the shot where you don't fully see all of Kermit. So you can see
there's a lot of good
there's a rig above him, obviously, but it's so cleverly shot.
Yeah, there's a lot of shots where you can tell, Kermit's being performed by somebody off screen.
Yeah, but
there's a couple shots that's like he's full screen, and you're going, "How did you do that?"
Yeah,
has to be a RC remote controlled animatronic, but there's no guarantee that's what it was.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Yeah, because I kept thinking like, okay, it's on a track, it's being pulled. It's like
Mike might have been
the possibility, but it was just like, oh my gosh,
there was no place for anyone to operate Kermit while being there.
Yeah, because obviously today they would have just had someone in a mocap suit
and not necessarily, but anyway,
that's a possibility. And they just put him in the shot, but with 1981 technology, that's impressive.
Oh yeah,
like incredibly impressive. So yeah, it's the bicycle scene for me. So what is your third?
I did not count this as my third, so we'll call this an extra.
Okay.
Piggy's fantasy sequence is also one I find amazing.
Okay.
I don't count this as my third like. It's just a bonus one here because honestly, there's a lot of that. I wonder how they, especially there's a lot of Piggy underwater. I'm kind of curious how they did.
Yeah, that was really good.
I know a lot of it is he probably had a swimmer in a full body Piggy outfit, but there's still a couple of those like, how did you pull that off? There's performing underwater is hard enough.
Yeah,
puppeteering underwater is another matter. But anyway,
okay. What I did notice with that scene was that it looked like they would literally like put Piggy in the shot and then just like maneuver the character just slightly to where she did something.
Yeah, but she didn't do a whole lot, but there was still some stuff like I thought it was cool they had the little air bubbles coming out of her nostrils.
Yeah, that was clever.
Yeah,
that was clever.
And the only part about that I didn't like was near the end there, you could tell they were running the footage in reverse.
Yeah,
which was sad, but the rest of that seems good. Anyway, that's not my third like. My third like is the meta humor in this movie. All the call outs, all the fourth wall call outs. The oh man, there's so many good ones in this. And of course, I can't remember one of them right now. But I mean, the thing about her overacting
Oh yeah.
is a great stuff. I remember my favorite one. My favorite one, and this will actually lead into my fourth one. My favorite one. You know what? Start that sentence over. My favorite one is when Piggy is first being interviewed by Lady Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And Lady Holiday just starts going off, telling everything about her brother Nicky and how horrible a person he is, but she still loves him because he's her brother, and so on and so forth. And Piggy just looks up and says, "Why are you telling me all this?" It's just, it's plot exposition. It has to go somewhere. But my best part about this is she describes her brother. What do you remember? What she described her brother as?
No, I don't.
She described her brother as an annoying parasite or something like that. It started with an I, and I can't think of the word now. Oh shoot! It's gonna bug me if I don't look it up right quick. Holiday parasite. Irresponsible parasite.
Irresponsible.
She just hang on. Oh no. Okay. She describes her brother Nicky as an irresponsible parasite, right?
Right.
The next scene on his office door, and it's still on his office door at the near the end when they're checking all their equipment. Did you catch the title underneath his name? What his job title at her fashion?
I'm drawing a blank.
Irresponsible parasite.
Wow. Okay.
I
guess I wasn't being that close to it.
I never noticed it till this viewing.
Wow.
I was watching and go, that's funny. It says irresponsible parasite. It still says irresponsible parasite at the end of it. Okay. It's like, I love that kind of humor.
Yeah.
And that's some of the best ones. Of course, the cameo with Oscar. What are you doing here? A very brief cameo. Me too. And keep in mind, Barry Ustinov actually was in the Muppet Show. He was a guest in an episode.
Really?
Yeah, it's a good episode. That's the one where they credit because he claimed that the Hat Rack wrote all of his best lines. They credit the end credits the Hat Rack as a writer for the show.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great episode. You should go watch it. You should watch a lot of the Muppet Show now that you're getting into it, because a lot of it is funny. Well, especially go watch the Star Wars episode.
I keep hearing that.
It's a good one. But I mean, some of the we haven't talked about it yet, but the fact that they're twins.
Oh gosh, this.
I find this a joke because obviously one's a bear and one's a
frog.
So how do you explain how they're twins? What way do you show a frog and a bear have the same father?
Oh gosh, that picture. That picture.
What? Of Fozzie the bear with Kermit's eyes, collar, and coloring will give you nightmares.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
But I saw this as a kid and probably thought it was as funny then as I think it is now.
I thought it was just like, oh my gosh, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
Completely disturbing.
I love his line. Yeah, I'm as cynical as the next guy. And he puts the picture in his desk. That's why I don't want him to hear this. You're fired. So yeah, all the meta humor in this. There's a lot more I didn't even mention. Like I said earlier about the you're singing sex. You're obviously dubbed. Took me down that rabbit hole.
Yes.
And there's a couple of other things. And of course, the only three times the Jim Henson, Frank Oz, and David Goelz actually has a cameo in their own movie.
Really?
Two of them are in the Supper Club.
Okay. That's right.
Jim Henson is sitting there, I think, with his niece. Frank Oz is the one whose wife isn't feeling very well. Oh, so she should be at home. She is at home.
That was Frank Oz?
Next table. Yeah, that's Frank Oz.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that's Frank Oz. Wow, okay.
Of course it is. Dave Goelz is performing Gonzo in that scene.
Wow. Okay, that's deep. That is wow.
And they are funny cameos. They did not.
They are.
They did not pull their punches.
No, they did not.
Well, not Dave Gold. It's Jerry Nelson that's got the other cameo, which I mentioned in the trivia.
Right.
But it's the only time they ever had. I take that back. Frank Oz does have another cameo in one of the straight to DVD movies, The Muppet Wizard of Oz, where he plays the guy behind the curtain.
Oz.
Yeah, Frank Oz.
Frank Oz. Makes sense.
So yeah, that's my third like.
All right.
Which now brings us to what's going to be the interesting part of this episode, I think. Me defending all of your dislikes.
Okay. And me defending my dislikes.
Which is all fair.
Right.
Always fair. What is your first dislike that I get to defend?
My first dislike, and now granted, this is nothing you need to defend at all. All right. So
I have a feeling we're going to share at least one. So
yeah.
go ahead.
Okay. So there again, throughout most of my life, I have not watched British humor, like a British television, movies, what have you. And so watching this film, be like, there are like a slew of cameos. I have no idea who these people are.
I didn't either. I only knew a couple.
Yeah, I knew.
I'm guessing Peter Falk.
Peter Falk, obviously. John Cleese. And
I have no idea who the third one for you would be.
Well, obviously I knew Jim Henson.
Well,
like
yeah.
Jim Henson was very obviously there,
And
but
Oscar.
and Oscar, of course. But everyone else was like, who in the what are these people? Because that was more like it was not a slight against the movie. It was just more like I don't know any of these people. Now, granted, this was made in 81.
Yeah.
I was born in 82. So be like, I just didn't know anybody in this film. And they're all like big cameos. I'm like, I don't know any of these people. So it was kind of disappointing in that regard.
With the only other cameo I knew was Peter Ustinov.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is because of him on the Muppet Show.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he was a big British actor. I mean, he played a lot of Shakespearean roles. Would I have preferred it be someone like Patrick Stewart? Sure, but Patrick Stewart wasn't that big yet.
True.
He hadn't even been in Dune yet.
Oh gosh, Dune. Don't get me started.
I know. I still love that shot of him on the side of that at the very end, looking over, the main city, and he's still very obviously Patrick Stewart with the bald head and the hair at the back, but the hair has grown long into a ponytail. Anyway,
so what is your number one dislike?
My number one is the song "Nightlife," which is the song that's Dr. Teeth is singing on the way to the Dubonnet Supper Club.
Oh, okay.
In every version I saw prior to this Blu-ray,
okay,
that is an instrumental.
Interesting.
They added it back in for this Blu-ray, and I think it's also on the Disney Plus version.
Okay.
It is from the soundtrack, because the soundtrack did feature a version with Dr. Teeth singing.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not like they just pulled this out of nowhere, but it does not fit what's going on very well.
Okay.
And plus, it doesn't even sound like Dr. Teeth is singing in time with the music, which is weird.
I did notice that. That was a little bit odd.
So yeah, it's not in the original. I don't know why they added it back in here, but I think it was supposed to originally have it, and they decided to take it out, and someone decided to put it back in.
Yeah.
I don't know, and that's just not a song I like. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my second dislike. Now, granted, this is me being critical of a film.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching the film. I'm watching this, and so our main protagonists blow the opportunity to get the scoop on this, and they are fired. They are fired for not getting the scoop, and they're fired from their job.
Yeah.
For the twins, air quotes here, from the newspaper, and then Fozzie has I think it's Fozzie. Is it Fozzie or Big Nose? What's his name?
Gonzo.
I can't remember which one it was, but they asked the chief editor, be like, "Oh, can you pay for our flight or pay for our advance for go to London?" It's like, one, why are you going to London? I understand if it's more, hey, we need to figure out the mystery behind this or something like that, but that's never explained. So in that, be like they go to London. They go to London to go interview the woman who got burglarized.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they going to London? They just got fired from the paper. I'm guessing maybe they can sell it to another paper. Okay. So
I've got a defenses. I'm letting you get to the end of your thought.
All right. So it's just, it has this weird start. It's like our characters are fired, yet the plot demands they have to go to London. They could have simply, like, there's so many little beats in this movie where they could have given a simple explanation. Is that Kermit feels responsible and he has to go to London. Be like, yeah, we've been fired, but we need to crack this story to prove our case, to prove that we're good reporters. That's never explained. And that just, I was like, what? So now it's more, okay, we need an excuse to go to London. And it's a very, very light excuse to go to London. Be like, your plot demands you have to go to London. So, and you're a reporter, so now you're going to go interview a woman that, unless you sell it to like someone else, you're not going to sell it to your original reporter, your original paper.
Yeah.
So it was such a, well, we've got to get to London, so we're going to go to London.
Mm-hmm.
And like the plot with Piggy and just like some of that is fairly good.
Okay.
Granted.
Let's hit one point at a time here before you get into Piggy.
Okay. Okay.
First off, I agree with you that there should have been at least a part where he came back in and says, "Hey, aren't y'all like maybe to give them the check? Says, aren't y'all going? Didn't you say you were going to London or something?" To give you the idea that they were still working for the paper.
Yeah,
they should have been something.
Yeah,
I mean, there's plenty of times where I can think of caper movies like this from back in the day where, yeah, the character got fired. But but right as they're getting ready to go out, the guy comes out and says, "Okay, here's your money to go on the plane trip," to get the idea that, yeah, you're still writing this article.
Yeah.
You fouled up. I had to fire you, but you're I can't remember what movie it is, but there's one part that says where they fired the guy and he comes back and says, "Okay, you're unfired. Go take care of this thing."
Yeah, something like that.
I can't remember. They should have been a scene like that where they unfired them.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Yeah.
Which I suspect maybe there was the scene was shortened.
Yeah.
Perhaps something was cut. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen any deleted scenes for this movie, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
But that should have been done a little better. But I think that's kind of what happened off screen is he must have come back in before they were able to leave and handed them and gave them the excuse to go over there because it's kind of tradition they obviously missed the biggest news story of their careers.
Yeah.
Because they were too busy singing.
Yeah.
And
technically it was their first one. First one, they blew it.
I would like to ask, and this is not any of my dislikes, but why did they get to pick what was on the front page?
Yeah,
that's a little weird. I
know it's very weird
thing, but
yeah, very contrived.
The Muppet movies live off contrivances.
Agreed.
It's part of the magic, but
true.
It's not a bug; it's a feature. But I mean, there should have been something to at least tie it in because there's the plot of this outside of this, and I think the next thing you're going to bring up, even though I'll disagree with it, is tighter than what this gives it the impression of.
Okay.
So, yeah. Now get into your complaints about Piggy. Because I know this is still part of your second one, right?
Yeah, it's still part of my second. It's just the fact that now I understand you have the romantic interest.
Yeah.
But to me, it's more okay. The only reason they got to the only reason they went to London,
yes,
was to have this connection with Piggy.
They went to interview Lady Holiday.
I agree with you there.
Apparently, but they never bothered to see what Lady Holiday looks like.
Apparently. Okay, so here's the second. Why is Piggy in London?
To be a high fashion model. She went to go get interviewed by Lady Holiday for that. And the only thing she could offer her was receptionist, and so she took it.
Yeah, I would.
She was trying to get her foot in the door.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. Agree with you there. And then because I'm thinking like, okay, he's a reporter. He's going to be He's going to be the.
He should have looked it up.
Yeah, he should have looked it up. And I mean, like it should have it should have gave it very close attention that he walks into the room, or in his case, waddles into the room, and you have this pig sitting on the table monologuing to nobody.
Well, this is a world where felt animals can work in any industry.
Agreed.
So seeing a pig at the top of a fashion empire, I don't think was completely crazy.
Oh, I would agree with you. And
once again, I still point out he should have seen a picture somewhere of Lady Holiday.
Exactly. This was her company.
Yeah, he should have done his basic research, but he didn't.
Yeah. So
they admittedly needed an excuse for him to confuse Piggy with Lady Holiday.
Exactly.
That is what the story needed to happen, because they had this whole thing where she had to be at the supper club when the jewels would get stolen so that she could be framed for them later.
Yes.
I think he could have come in and they could have done away. I agree with you that they probably could have done away with the confusing Piggy for Lady Holiday.
Yeah.
Because that's literally goes nowhere.
Yeah, it does.
You could have done the same. You could even led into the stuff at Highbrow Street with her being a receptionist, and maybe Kermit just thinks she's paid well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a wealthy heiress who's doing this job on the side.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have made more sense than
it would have.
She's Lady Holiday.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it kind of works for me to the point where I didn't question it during the movie.
Okay.
So, of course, admittedly, the first time I saw this movie, I was 5.
Right.
Or younger.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nostalgia hiding stuff there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Totally understand. And then you be like the plot itself literally goes off the rails, or in this case, the bicycle rails, when it comes to having building the relationship between Kermit and Piggy. I'm like, okay, you have this fairly interesting story, and you spend nearly 30 minutes of your film building the story, or building the obvious story between Kermit and Piggy. And I'm like, okay, one, I did like the scene with the bicycle scene. That was really nicely well done. You didn't have to spend all this time, because obviously it felt like it was filler. It felt like there was a lot of this story where it was just filler to give the movie more runtime and give more gags to it, which is understandable. At the same time, it's just like, okay, you spend most of your film these two characters falling in love, and
okay, so no offense,
and it's to me it's irritating.
What I'm hearing is they did a joke that you didn't like, and so now you're being very picky about the part you didn't like. Because this is not the first time this has happened,
right?
Where you didn't get the joke, or a joke flew past you. I'm thinking back to Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling it's a similar issue.
Okay,
the joke didn't land.
Yeah,
and now you're looking at all the things you don't like about what's going on because it doesn't feel right, because you're not tracking with the movie.
No, I mean, I think it's just more when it comes to sometimes I don't get humor. Sometimes they don't. And so I'm taking this and I'm taking more of a literal standpoint from it. And so when I'm watching it, it's like, okay, this really is not funny. Be like, why are we wasting time with this? Let's get on with the story. And because from my perspective,
was part of the story.
I agree with you there. I
mean, I understand. It did that part of the story doesn't work for you.
Exactly.
I understand that. Do not get me wrong. At the same time, that section to me is not filler.
Yeah.
That is okay. We are establishing Kermit's character. He's a reporter. He's a very intelligent reporter, but he forgets the things he really should be doing.
Yeah. Like reporting.
Like checking on who Lady Holiday actually looks like.
Yeah.
Either not questioning perhaps why she's asking you to guess her address.
Yeah.
And you guess it right the first time.
Yeah.
Part of that is focusing on what kind of reporter this Kermit in this movie is.
Yeah. Is he a reporter?
Miss Piggy, on the other hand, she's gotten her dream.
Mhm.
She's found the frog of her dreams,
Apparently,
and is scared that if he finds out that she's not who he thinks she is, she's going to lose him. So she decides to live the lie of, oh, she's Lady Holiday.
Yeah.
Everything from the time Kermit walks into that office until she leaves the Dubonnet Club, which I'm assuming is a lot of what you have the issue with,
right,
is all about her trying to keep Kermit
continue to live the lie.
She's trying to live this lie that, oh yeah, I'm Lady Holiday, despite the fact Lady Holiday is just right over here.
Yeah.
And it also gives you the excuse as to when Nikki sees Miss Piggy and falls in love with her.
I agree with you.
It is admittedly setting up. It is a setup sequence.
Yeah,
it's setting up.
Yes.
That sequence sets up the theft during the fashion show. It gives Miss Piggy it sets up her character, sets up Kermit's character, even sets up Fozzie's character.
Yeah,
because Fozzie takes a beating in this movie. You didn't catch that part, did you? How much of a beating Fozzie takes in this movie?
No, apparently I missed it.
Fozzie feels left out for most of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Kermit sees Piggy.
Yeah.
Every time something happens, he kind of just does this, and then moves on, trying to keep his stuff up her lip. Be there for his brother.
Yeah.
His brother.
Yeah, his froggy brother.
Yes. And it comes to a head when you get to the scene there where all the Happiness Hotel gang is sitting there on the bed, and they're discussing, people could die tonight.
Yeah.
So if you want to get out, now's the time. And of course, everyone gets out, and then Fozzie gives that very impassioned speech.
I agree with you.
Took more out of him.
Yeah.
Than everything. And throughout a lot of the other stuff, he's starting to feel put aside by his brother because, we're not going to go see Lady Holiday / Miss Piggy at the Dubonnet Club. I'm going to go see. So he's being left out of that, and he's
agree with you.
Allowed to come along because of the guilt trip, and of course everyone else gets to go with them, so they don't go into the club.
Yeah, which is weird.
But that's just because it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, agreed.
But that's all that part is character setup.
Oh yeah, I completely agree with you on that.
I recognize it does nothing to move the plot along.
No,
it's
it doesn't.
Kind of a weird side trip. But what little plot elements it's got in it is designed as a setup, and plus, it's your standard mystery caper scene at the fancy dinner party.
Yeah.
Everyone's
I totally get.
It's as required to the story as the exposition. It has to go somewhere.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, just for me personally,
that's my only defense.
Yeah. So my rebuttal to that would be that, like, for me, I think the plot could have been tightened up a little bit better, because like every Muppet movie, there has to be some kind of relationship between the frog and the pig.
Yes,
it's
been like that since the Muppet Show.
Yeah, exactly.
The only time Piggy and Kermit were on screen at the same time and there was not a relationship was on the Muppet Show pilot, Sex and Violence.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, that's the name of the
pilot. That's the name of the pilot.
Sex and Violence.
Wow. Okay, interesting.
They were trying to prove this is not Sesame Street.
Yeah.
This is for adults.
Wow.
So they called it Sex and Violence.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, just the like going back to another film, Muppet Treasure Island.
Yes.
Like you already have that established. To be like these characters did have a relationship prior to this.
Yes. I would also point out that you bringing up Treasure Island is you're bringing up something in which they are adapting a story, not making one from scratch.
Agreed.
So, I mean, that's almost not fair.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, but I think they it's almost like they could have like made I'm not saying maybe a better.
You just wish that if you're going to include those scenes, that it had been tightened up better and more tied into the story and not felt like a side plot.
Exactly.
That is completely fair.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that's my number. Basically, you had this runaround with the pig and the frog, and this could have been tightened up better and not just made. It's like, oh, it's the two falling in love again.
Well,
it's like, come on, really?
An original story, and they would not have met in that movie universe prior to.
I would agree.
Anyway,
I would agree with you on that. But almost in every iteration of a Muppet story, be like,
you get tired of re-seeing the love scene.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we
be happy that Muppets Take Manhattan does not feature that?
Okay.
Because they're all friends from college at the beginning.
Okay.
So they've had all that relationship stuff already.
Okay.
Of course, you saw Muppets Treasure Island.
Yes.
And the Muppets does not have that either.
Okay.
So this is probably the last time you're going to run into it. It's just, this was literally the second movie, and they, like the first one, they decided we'll start from zero with people, with the characters being, people recognize them from the Muppet Show, but this is the Muppets performing a production.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my number 2.
All right. My number 2. I didn't expect this, considering I referenced it at the end of our Shrek episode.
Yeah.
The running gag in this movie of what color are their hands now is so dumb. It doesn't work.
Okay.
It's stupid. Now, admittedly, it's said by Beauregard for 3 of them. Beauregard is not the smartest person in the Muppets.
Right.
He was brought in during season 3 to play the janitor.
Okay.
That's what he was created for. He replaced another janitor that was on the show that was only in the first season. But he's not a bright character.
Right.
And so that joke worked for him the first time.
Okay.
And it didn't work the second time, but it's like, okay, the third time will land, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, except the third time, it's not said by Beauregard. It's said by Piggy.
Really?
Yeah, in the in the scene there at the prison where her and Kermit are having their visitation.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
She says it, and Kermit says, "Don't you too, Piggy," or something like that. And it doesn't work there because it's Piggy who's saying it, who's much more intelligent than Beauregard is. And then Beauregard says it at the end of the movie, right before they go down in there to catch him.
Yeah. The
joke is so stupid. I would live with it if it was just, the stupid character saying it, but Piggy says it, and Piggy's not stupid. Piggy may be lovesick.
Yeah.
But she's not stupid.
Okay.
So yeah, that joke about what color are their hands now, and they're going to catch them red-handed.
Okay.
No, it doesn't work.
I got you.
Should not have. That's a running gag that didn't work.
I got you.
And that's my number 2.
All right.
What's my third defense going to be?
Okay. My third is like, I think my second and third kind of tie in together. I was almost as interested in this film watching it from its inception into going into like your third act. I was like, okay, boring, kind of boring to me. I'm not saying it's a bad film.
Okay. I can't defend against boring because that's totally subjective. But okay,
exactly. Like there was a part of me that said this movie it's not. I'm not saying not entertaining, because there are parts of this film that are very entertaining, but there is a chunk of this film that is just like, okay, I've become disinterested in everything. I just kind of just get yink. Okay. Now I'm just watching a movie. I'm not interested in the film, but there again, the third act is very good. Just like there's parts where
don't like any of the setup leading up into the third act.
Pretty much. There's there again, there are little parts here and there that I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I'm not interested in the film for the most part.
would it have helped if you did not know who the sorry, let me say this into the microphone so people can hear me. Would it have worked better had you not known that Nikki was the main thief? If it had actually been a mystery.
I would agree with you on that, because it definitely does set up that Nikki is the bad guy.
Oh, it's in the first scene Nikki appears in during Hey a Movie.
Yeah.
You don't know that's his name is Nikki yet, or that he's related to the victim, but he's he's there during the thing, and he turns to the camera and pulls the thing down and says, "And me," with the rest of the song. Yeah. And the music even does the low bass, kind of give that thing. Yeah. So if him being the villain had been kept a secret,
there'd been more of a mystery
until Gonzo overheard them at the fashion show. Would that have worked better for you?
I think it would have.
Keep you interested in what the mystery is.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That you're paying attention more. To all this other stuff, thinking maybe this is leading into that. Maybe this is leading into
exactly. Be like, just
I will actually admit this, because it's not in my dislikes, but that was something I thought could improve the movie.
Yeah, like just
because most of his stuff would have worked.
Yeah, exactly. If they would just kept it in the dark
prior to that point.
Yeah, if they would have kept a lot of the mystery of this movie in the dark, I think the movie would have been a lot better. But just overall, it's like, okay, let's the winks and nods to be like, okay, this is what's going on, and it just be like, I was just interested throughout most of the film until the third. I'd be like, yeah, I kept track of what was going on, but I was disinterested in it. By the third act, it's like, okay, things are getting better. So yeah, it's just like through most of the film, I was like, meh, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So my third and final dislike.
Yes.
The transfer of this movie is not good.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely tell you there.
So yeah, like I said, this is my second favorite Muppet movie. And it annoys me when I first start off, and I can see the fact that unlike the Muppet movie, this has not been remastered. This is a straight film transfer from a film that does not look like it's aged very well.
No, it hasn't.
At later parts of the movie, it actually does look better. But and thankfully, during the Mallory Gallery scenes, which are completely at night, so there's a lot of black on screen, you thankfully don't see a lot of bad snow.
Yeah.
But that first shot of them zooming in past Animal destroying the MGM faux logo and into the blue sky.
That was funny.
That was funny. But the visual quality of that was garbage.
Agreed.
And that's not a good way to start off a movie.
No, it's not.
I wish they'd have gone back and just done a light cleanup of the print. Because there are parts of this that's like, you were doing so good and this looks bad. And in comparison to the other movie on the Blu-ray, Muppet Treasure Island, there's just a major quality difference.
Okay.
And even though they were both shot on film, there's just a major quality difference in how one was kept versus the other.
Okay.
So yeah, my third dislike is the bad transfer of this movie from. I wouldn't say it's a bad transfer. The fact that they did not remaster this movie for Blu-ray release. They just transferred it straight from the film and didn't clean it up any. That's my third dislike.
Okay.
That brings us to the end of this review, and so we need to rate this movie.
Okay.
I'm giving it a 9.
Okay, then.
Because I love this movie.
Apparently.
I know you don't understand why I love this movie, but I do love this movie.
Okay.
You can tell from my dislikes, I was nitpicking the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's a fun movie. It's one that as soon as they land in New York, even though New York is a set,
right,
I am totally enthralled with the movie. And that's a sign of a good movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is when it sucks you in and doesn't let you go till the end. And and of course, there's a lot of nostalgia playing into this, but it's I can't give it any less than a 9.
Okay.
So now that I've braced myself for your score, what is it?
Okay.
It's probably not as bad as I think it is.
No, it's a 6.5.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. So my 6.5 would be like there again, like in my my likes, be like there are a lot of really good. There's a lot of good work. There's a lot of like just very well done executed parts in this film. It's just this like there's a lot of the film that I was just disinterested in. I couldn't engage with it. And I just kind of just was like, okay, I'm watching a film. I'm watching a film for a review. And I just like there again, there are good parts in this film that I really enjoy.
I would like to point out that what you're describing was me last week.
Oh my gosh. That's true. That is so true. So freaking true. All right. So yeah, so it's there again, to me, this is a middle of the road film. It has incredible like visual effects and that kind of stuff for a movie that's made in 81 that there again did not get a very good transfer at all.
Yeah.
But like for a movie done in 81 with the visual effects they have, it's very well done, very well executed. There's just part of the films I'd be like, I find myself completely disinterested in the film until the third act.
Okay.
So there again, be like, I loved a Christmas Carol movie via Muppets. I enjoyed that movie. I especially enjoyed Muppet Treasure Island. Mm-hmm. I love that. That movie is amazing. I just didn't like this film so much. And it'd be like if you enjoy the movie to death, great. Have a conversation about it. I'd be like, and as you heard me and Drew talk about it, be like, yeah, Drew loves this film. I'm kind of about the film. I'll be like,
strangely, I feel better about this than when we reviewed Galaxy Quest for Movie of the Week.
Oh gosh.
We've hinted at that episode so much, you might as well go find it and listen to it.
Go listen to it. It's there again. Sometimes I don't get humor, and I just find sometimes humor annoying.
You prefer the plot to be center, not the humor to be center.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
I still say you sometimes confuse where center is, but that's besides the point. Anyway, thank y'all for joining us for this episode. Next week, we are reviewing a movie I think we both pretty much like and have the same issues with, so it'll be a much more calmer episode.
Yeah, a little bit.
So join us next week for Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah.
She's going turbo, kids.
Yeah. All right.
And this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we will catch you in the next frame. And we're stopped.
Good. Okay, that was interesting.
That was fun. That was fun.
That was so much fun.
I disagree with you on a lot of points.
You were right.
Fine.
Right. That happens.
You disagreed with me last week. We're even.
Exactly.
Okay, we're safe. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump over on. If you're still on the Twitch, I don't even know if there's anyone still here in Twitch. There is somebody. Okay, I'm going to run y'all over to Retro Rewind. I'm going to hang out and we're going to go. Thanks for joining us. You catch us up on Facebook and all that other stuff. Apparently, Francisco's in the middle of it. If I can hit the right buttons on here. It appears Francisco's in the middle of a chair stream. Which is my luck, always.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. And if I can hit the buttons on here correctly.
Yeah, guys.
I'll read over there.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, social media stuff.
All those places.
All that social media garbage. You can follow us there. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Twitch. You can follow us on gaming. I think is
SoCast Gaming on Twitch.
Yeah, SoCast Gaming on Twitch.
I might be doing some game streaming on Good Friday during the day.
Okay.
Since I'm off.
Oh, lucky you.
Oh, it's a holiday.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For some people.
Technically for you too, but you got to work.
Yeah.
You got holiday pay.
No, I don't get holiday
Never
pay.
mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
But yeah, guys, if you like what you heard, Please like and subscribe. You can find us on all available podcasting platforms. And so yeah, like us, subscribe, and share with your friends, and help this community grow. And maybe some stuff down the road. All right, guys. Thanks.
Right. I'm hitting the button now.
Hit the button. Boop. And end the stream.
I'm going to here in a second. Yep, we made it over.
Good.
And now I'm going to end the stream.
Good deal.
For everybody else.